tree. On the 9th, on the 8th, on the 7th day of Christmas, with clouds of holly, here we come a-whistling among the lanes of 5 golden rings. 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, the boys hand in hand, bear I be decked with maize and partridge in a pear tree. On the 11th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids and laughing, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. On the 12th day of Christmas, I have a little dreidel. I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, a dreidel I shall play. Oh, dreidel, dreidel. Sorry. On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me. On the 12th day, my true love gave to me 12 drummers drumming like Olympus upon the Serengeti. 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a leaping. 9 ladies dancing, they were dancing for me. And at the milking, they were milking just for me. I had Christmas down in Africa. Hey everyone, hi, I'm John David West. Welcome to Theater for the New City's weekly reading series TNC on the Air, where we present live performances and readings of new works. So it's all about the writers, but tonight is a very special show. So can we all agree that we need a little Christmas this very minute? We need a little joy. Oh, and it's Hanukkah. It's the first day of Hanukkah, by the way. So I am so excited. We have a group of talented actors. They are off the chart. And so tonight we have like variety shows. So it's Holiday TNC from it's Holiday TLC from TNC, where we feature theater, music, and poetry, and it's hosted by Lissa Moira and technical direction by J. Allen Hanna. These guys have been with us. I think this is our 3rd time now working together, and I think this is the most fun I'm going to have. So anyway, we are still closed, but I'm so grateful to Lissa and her team for being here, and what did I want to say? Can I be heard? And I hope you guys out there are doing well and you're safe and your families are well. So thank you for being here. I just want to tell you guys about some upcoming shows we have, and we have so much going on. Actually, today, right now, is TNC along with the new Yiddish rap, or we presented a production of The Dybbuk, and that's going on through Sunday. So head over to the website if you're not there already. It's theaterforthenewcity.net, and check it out. And you can buy tickets for there. It's a ticket-only event, so not like this. This is free. And next week is our readings continue on Thursday, December 17th with another new work titled The Dying Room by John Wesley Braswell. And we have more readings all the way through the middle of January. So we have lots and lots of work coming up. And then what else is coming up? Oh, Saturday. This Saturday is our weekly pop-up show. It's a pop-up live performance titled Open Though Shut, and it's at 2 p.m. and it happens at the theater on the sidewalk on 10th Street between 1st and 2nd Avenues, and it's right on where the loading dock is for the theater. It's really amazing. It's such a cool East Village thing, and I'm actually going to perform there. I'm doing a little thing on Trump. I'm going to be Trump for some monologue, so it's going to be fun times. I have to work on it. And then what else is coming? I think that's enough. That's it. But I do want to ask everybody to please support your small businesses and support your small theaters. And you can head over to our website, theaterforthenewcity.net, and donate. So please donate. We need your help. And I very much appreciate it. And thank you, everybody who's donated. So I'm going to bring to the stage, if I will, Stormy Daniels. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome to the stage,
No.
Lissa Moira. It's your show. Take it away. Have fun, and mwah, big kiss. Thank you.
All right, I hope I'm on. Hi there, everybody. Welcome to Zoomland and to TLC, Holiday TLC from TNC. Boy, do we have some fabulous presents for you tonight. So whatever you celebrate, be it Christmas or Hanukkah, Kwanzaa or Festivus, I don't care. We're here for your pleasure. And all my wonderful friends, so many of them. I have a plethora, but I have some of my wonderful, most favorite friends are here tonight, and they're brilliant artists, and they're going to perform. And boy, do we need it, because 2020 has been one hell of a year. And I do not mean that in a good way, but at least we all got an early Christmas present in our stockings on November 7th, when the election was finally called for Joe Biden, and we dodged a bullet. It looks like we might get our sanity and our democracy back, even though currently we are dealing with a zombie president. But on to happier things. As I said, I've got some amazing people for you to see tonight, and we are going to start with Jonathan Fox Powers and Paige Cutrona. Now, Jonathan is an unbelievable actor that I have worked with numerous times. He goes deep into his heart, into his soul, and searches and finds his characters and brings them to the stage, no matter what it might cost him personally. Because he will go to the dark side if he has to. And I've traveled there with him, and it's been an extraordinary journey. I met Paige more recently. They recently got married. The minute I met her, I knew, wow, this was the gal for Jonathan. In fact, they've been married most recently. And she has a heavenly voice. I have heard her sing. I haven't had the honor of directing her yet, but I have heard her sing. And they're here for you tonight. So it is Jonathan Fox Powers and Paige Cutrona.
Hi, everyone. Happy holidays. Thank you, Lissa, for that lovely introduction. It's been one of the great pleasures and honors of my life in the recent years, working with you. And thank you, dear viewer, for joining us and welcoming us into your home tonight. We're going to start with a very, very favorite classic. You'll recognize it.
Minuit chrétien, c'est la raison d'honneur, au nom de Dieu descendez jusqu'à nous. Pour effacer la tâche originelle, il met son père arrêter le courroux. Le monde entier tressaille d'espérance à cette nuit qui lui donna sauveur. dividerai oltre le palle sosse, se porno tu chi ne chi soffre ne.
Beautiful, babe. Beautiful. So next, I have something for you. Now, this isn't just any Christmas song. This isn't a Christmas song. This is the Christmas song. It's been one of my favorites for all the years. It feels especially appropriate this year. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh. And every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you.
Ooh, I'm marrying you again.
That's good news. So, to close out our portion of this wonderful evening, we've got another perennial favorite with a twist.
Yes.
I really can't stay.
Baby, it's cold outside.
I've got to go away.
Baby, it's cold outside.
This evening has
Been hoping that
been
you'd
so
drop
very
in.
nice.
I'll hold your hands, they're just like
The mother
ice.
will start to
Uniform
worry,
thoughts you're
and father will
hurry.
be pacing the floor.
Listen to fireplace
Now
roar.
really I'd better scurry.
Beautiful, please don't
Well,
hurry.
maybe just a half a drink more.
Put some records on while I pour.
Neighbors might
But
think,
baby, it's bad out there.
say what's in this
No
drink.
cats to be heard out there.
I wish I knew
Your eyes are like
how to
starlit
break the
now.
spell.
I'll take your hat, your hair looks swell.
But to say no, no, no,
My
ma'am.
moving
At least I'm gonna
closer.
say that I
What's the sense
tried.
of hurting my
You
pride?
can't
Oh, baby,
stay.
don't hold out. But it's cold outside.
I simply must go.
Baby, it's cold outside.
The answer is no.
Baby, it's cold outside.
The welcome has
Lucky that
been
you
so
stopped
nice
in.
and warm.
Look out the window at that
My
store.
sister will be
Gosh, your lips
suspicious.
look delicious.
My brother will be there at the
Waves across a
door.
tropical
My
shore.
maiden aunt's mind is
Gosh, your
vicious.
lips are delicious.
Well, maybe just a cigarette more.
Never such a blizzard before.
Gotta get home.
Baby, it's freeze out there.
Say, lend me a
It's
coat.
empty and ease out there.
You've really been
I
grand,
feel when you touch
but
my
don't you
head.
see?
How can you do this thing to me?
There's bound to be talk
Think of
tomorrow.
my love
At least
sorrow.
there will be plenty
If you
implied.
have pneumonia and
Really
die,
can't
you're
stay.
out, but it's cold outside.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed that, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Now
you.
back to Lissa for more of our wonderful holiday cheer.
Oh, merci, merci bien. Oh, that was wonderful. I love you both. Anyway, now I am sure everyone here, everyone out there is familiar with It's a Wonderful Life. I watch it every year. But for the rare uninitiated, time 1930s, place Bedford Falls, a small New England town. It's a Wonderful Life is the story of George Bailey, who in a moment of crisis wishes he'd never been born and decides to kill himself. Just as George is on the brink of suicide, Clarence, his guardian angel, is dispatched from heaven to rescue him. He shows George what life would have been like in Bedford Falls if, in fact, he hadn't been born. In so doing, he proves to George how valuable his life has been and how enriched the lives of everyone in his own family have been, and all the good he has done others as the only countervailing force against the richest, meanest, most grasping, unfeeling man in town, Old Man Potter. Now, with an updated version of this beloved Christmas story, one of my favorite brilliant actors, William Broderick.
Remake, It's a Wonderful Life, 2003, by David Owen. The sentimental tale of George Bailey, who has selflessly dedicated his life to his family and his beloved Bedford Falls. It's George's 75th birthday and his 50th wedding anniversary, and he has just announced to a large gathering of friends that he is turning over the presidency of his thriving Chevrolet dealership to his 40-year-old adopted son and only child, George Jr., who, on this same evening, has married, finally, a considerably younger and stunningly beautiful former homecoming queen who, a moment ago, whispered to George and his adored and adoring wife, Mary, that she is eager to begin producing grandchildren. George, full of happiness, steps away from the crowd and alone on a terrace, looks up in wonder at the star-filled sky, thanks God for his astonishing good fortune, and feeling a tap on his shoulder, turns and meets Clarence Oddbody, an angel second class, who has been sent to Earth to earn his wings. Clarence asked George if he would be interested in knowing what Bedford Falls would be like today if George had never been born. And George, who has occasionally permitted himself, with uncharacteristic though justifiable pride, to wonder this very thing, says he would. They set off on foot, and George spots a young man in uniform who, can it be, looks exactly like a private from the platoon George led in Korea, a private who died in ambush that led to George's being awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor for repelling an enemy attack single-handed after ripping a machine gun from the back of an overturned Jeep and dragging the private's dead body back to a secure position with his teeth. The man in uniform, it turns out, is the grandson of the dead private, who didn't die after all, because the platoon, without George to lead it, didn't go on patrol that day, and instead lolled around playing cards until lights out. On the next block, where Bailey Chevrolet ought to be, George sees the Potter Medical Center, inside which George Jr., although that's not his name since he was adopted not by George and Mary, but by a guy who, George realizes, once worked briefly in his body shop, inside which George Jr. discovered the cure for cancer a few days ago, to the delight of his beautiful wife, a theoretical physicist and Pulitzer Prize-winning poet, and their 3 lovely children, the eldest of whom just skipped straight from 7th grade to 9th grade and loves to go fishing with his grandpa. The hospital turns out to have been built by and named for Henry F. Potter, Bedford Falls' richest man, whom George has always thought of as a money-grubbing buzzard and foreign car driver, but who, under the benevolent influence of his wife, Mary, yes, George's own Mary, who looks fitter, better dressed, and 10 years younger than she did at the party George left, has devoted the past 50 years to giving away his fortune and paying besotted attention to the 5 lovely daughters who Mary, fertile after all, bore him. One of those daughters is now the mayor of Bedford Falls. One is an astronaut. One is the chief executive of a global software company that has never enriched its top executives with unfairly priced stock options. One is a chemist who just came up with an easy way to reverse global warming. And the youngest, Zuzu, is the President of the United States. Last week, Zuzu negotiated a sweeping disarmament treaty with the world's other nuclear powers. And earlier today, she announced that the federal government would stop collecting income taxes because the Treasury is full. George swoons. When he recovers, Clarence hands him a revolver, tips his hat, and strolls down the street whistling. As the scene fades to black, we hear a single gunshot, followed in the distance by the tinkling of a bell.
Wow. I just love that, knowing the film as well as I do, but I don't know if I'll ever look at it the same way again. Thank you, Bill. That was a riot. Anyway, next up, one of my dear friends. It's Inma Heredia, who I met many years ago when we were both doing plays in the same building in different theaters. And we met, of course, where else? In the bathroom, both of us doing our makeup. I took one look at Inma and I said, wow, this gal's got it going on. She was so scintillating and so alive and so full of juice and love and all this great stuff. I said, I've got to talk to her and find out what she's all about. And I found out what she's all about is that she is an actress and a singer and a marvelous flamenco dancer. And I asked her to come to Theater for the New City to be part of the Lower East Side Festival. And she's been performing there ever since. And I've worked with her in other things, and I adore her. You will as well. Lend your eyes and ears to Inma Heredia.
Oh my God, thank you so much for this beautiful, beautiful, wonderful introduction. It's my greatest honor to be with all of you, and thank you for giving us the gift to perform for all of you and celebrate the holidays big time, more than ever. And to start with, I'm gonna do my own Spanish with a little flamenco touch flavor of the little drummer boy. Instead of a boy drumming, it's a woman dancing flamenco for God. So I hope you enjoy and join me dancing from home. Thank you. El camino que lleva a Belén baja hasta el valle que la nieve cubrió, y los pastorcillos quieren ver a su rey. Le traen presente en su viejo zurrón, rapapampo, rapapampo. Ha nacido en el portal de Belén el niño Dios. Yo quisiera poner a tus pies algún presente que te agrade, Señor, mas tú ya sabes que soy pobre también y no poseo más que un viejo mantón, rapapompo, rapapompo. En tu honor frente al portal bailaré con mi mantón. El camino que lleva a Belén, yo voy marcando con mi viejo mantón. No hay nada mejor que te pueda ofrecer. Su movimiento es un baile de amor al Redentor, al Redentor. Cuando Dios me vio bailando ante él, me sonrió. Thank you. I hope you enjoy my own version and that I got you all dancing and animated. And, you know, I feel already so much happier just performing, make us all feel alive. And now I have a special gift because tonight is also the first night of Hanukkah. So I'm going to sing a Hanukkah song. This was composed by Flori Jagoda, who is a Jewish American composer. It was composed in 1983. It's called Ocho Candelicas, 8 Little Candles. And it's sung in the Ladino language which is derived from Old Spanish and associated with the Sephardic community. So please enjoy, sing from home, light to the wall, ocho candelicas, and I'm gonna use my castanets to add a little more flavor. Hanukkah linda está aquí, ocho candelas para mí. Hanukkah linda está aquí, ocho candelas para mí. Oh, una candelica, dos candelicas, tres candelicas, cuatro candelicas, cinco candelicas, seis candelicas, siete candelicas, ocho candelas para mí. Muchas fiestas voy a hacer con alegría y placer. Muchas fiestas voy a hacer con alegría y placer. Oh, una candelica, dos candelicas, tres candelicas, cuatro candelicas, cinco candelicas, seis candelicas, siete candelicas, ocho candelas para mí. Los pastelitos voy a comer con almendricas y la miel. Los pastelitos voy a comer con almendricas y la miel. Oh, una candelica, dos candelicas, tres candelicas, cuatro candelicas, cinco candelicas, seis candelicas, siete candelicas, ocho candelas para ti. Celebrating the first night of Hanukkah, much love and light to the whole planet. Hanukkah linda hasta aquí, ocho candelas para ti. Una candelica, dos candelicas, tres candelicas, cuatro candelicas, cinco candelicas, seis candelicas, siete candelicas, ocho candelas para ti. Muchas fiestas voy a hacer con alegría y placer. Muchas fiestas voy a hacer con alegrías y placer. Oh, venga conmigo. Una candelica, dos candelicas, tres candelicas, cuatro candelicas, cinco candelicas, seis candelicas, siete candelicas, ocho candelas para mí. Much love and happy holidays. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, now we're going to go from the sublime to the cynical. I'm going to do something for you that is very, very not Santa-like. But it is another aspect of Christmas, and I think you might recognize it to some extent. It is an excerpt from Meet John Doe, screenplay by Robert Riskin, originally directed by Frank Capra. Time, 1941. Place, a city in the Midwest, USA. Ann Mitchell works at a newspaper that has just been taken over by new management. Her editor, Hank Connell, informs her that the new owner, D.B. Norton, is axing her column because it's all lavender and all lace and not in sync with the paper's new format. In a last gasp effort to keep her column, Ann concocts a letter written by one John Doe, stating that 4 years ago I was fired from my job. I can't get another. Slimy politics create unemployment. And in protest, I'm going to jump off the roof of City Hall. The letter creates public outrage and succeeds in getting the massive audience that the owner wants and keeps her column. But when Connell finds out and faked the letter, he's angry and wants the paper to drop the whole business. He suggests that the paper report that its staff convinced John Doe to change his mind and therefore saved his life. And vehemently disagrees. Wait a minute. Listen, you great big genius of a newspaper man. You came down here to shoot some life into this dying paper, didn't you? Well, the whole town's curious about John Doe, and boom, just like that, you're gonna bury him. There's enough circulation in that man to create a shortage in the ink market. Now look, suppose there was a John Doe and he walked into this office. What would you do? Find him a job and forget about the whole business? Not me. I'd make a deal with him. When you get hold of a stunt that sells papers, you don't just drop it like a hot potato. This is good for at least a few months. You know what I'd do between now and, say, Christmas, when he's gonna jump? I'd run a daily yarn, starting with his boyhood, his schooling, his first job. A wide-eyed youngster facing a chaotic world, the problem of the average man, of all the John Does in the world. Now, then comes the drama. He meets discouragement. He finds the world has feet of clay. His ideals crumble. So what does he do? He decides to commit suicide in protest against the state of civilization. He thinks of the river, but no. He has a better idea, the city hall. Why? Because he wants to attract attention. He wants to get a few things off his chest. And that's the only way he can be heard. So he writes a letter, and I dig him up. He pours out his story to me. And from now on, we quote, "I protest" by John Doe. He protests all the evils in the world, the greed, the hate, the fear, all of man's inhumanity to man. Arguments will start. Should he commit suicide or should he not? People will write in pleading with him. But no, sir. John Doe will remain adamant. On Christmas Eve, hot or cold, he goes. See? Definitely a different side of Christmas. I hope it warmed the cockles of your heart. Next up, we have, well, a Christmas card for you. It's a video Christmas card. We tried with everything we knew how to get these folks together live. But we had to make an exception because they are so special, especially, of course, to all of you, but to me as well, because this particular group, Melange, happens to be headed up by Mr. Richard West, who is the other, my other half, my wonderful other half in art and life and love. And he's an extraordinary guitarist. He is a composer. He is a writer. And just a unique personality and a wonderful performer. And joining Richard West will be Susan Mitchell. I'll tell you more about her as an actress later when she performs again. But right now, I'll just tell you that she's magic on the violin and she will be playing in Melange. And then we have Jiggers Turner, who I first met when Susan and I and he were all in a play together. Would you believe a beat version of Antigone? It was quite good, actually. But anyway, we stayed fast friends for decades. And unfortunately for the stage, he has given up treading the boards, but he remains a fine percussionist, and he will be playing percussion tonight with Melange. And they play out of this world music. You just have to hear them. So lend your ears and your eyes and your heart to Melange.
Hello, everybody. Don't go away. A little introspection here. This holiday season by the great Lawrence Ferlinghetti. Did a takeoff on a Khalil Gibran little piece. It's called "Pity the Nation." You know that Mark Twain once famously said, "You can fool people much easier than you convince them that they have been fooled." Pity the nation whose people are sheep, whose shepherds misled them. Pity the nation whose leaders are liars, whose sages are silenced, and whose bigots haunt its airwaves. Pity the nation that raises riot its voice, except to praise conquerors, and acclaim the bully as hero, and aims to rule the world by force and by torture. Pity the nation that knows no other language but its own. Pity the nation whose breath is money, and who sleeps the sleep of the too well-fed. Pity the nation and pity the people who allow their rights to erode, and their freedoms to be washed away. My country, tears of thee, sweet land of liberty. Lawrence Ferlinghetti, who's approaching his 102nd birthday and is still very relevant. This is Susan Mitchell, Jiggers Turner, and I'm Richard West, and we're all veterans of the theater.
Well, you can see why I love him. He says what he has to say, and he goes away. That's my guy. Brilliant, brilliant guy. And aren't they wonderful? Just try putting that kind of music into a little box. You cannot do it. You cannot categorize it, except that you know it's terrific. Well, I'm just the luckiest director, I think. I was going to say on the face of the earth, but I won't go that far. But I am a very, very lucky director because I've worked with so many extraordinary people through the years. I'm just scratching the surface tonight, but whoa, what a fabulous surface. Now, I have got coming up a gentleman named Bennett Pologe, and he is an amazing actor. He is intuitive and analytical at the same time, and that ain't easy. And we've worked together a good number of times. One of his most favorite roles was in an opera that I directed called Lady of the Castle, and he knocked my socks off in that, and the socks of everybody in the audience. Absolutely wonderful. Well, tonight he's going to do something quite different for you. He is going to do an excerpt from The Pawnbroker, and he will follow that up with an incredible song anthem from the musical Chess. The Pawnbroker, screenplay by David Friedkin and Morton Fine, based on the novel by Edward Louis Wallant. It was originally directed by Sidney Lumet. Time, 1963. Place, Spanish Harlem, New York City. Saul Nazaman is a survivor of Auschwitz. 20 years ago, Saul's wife, Ruth, and their children, Naomi and David, died at Auschwitz. Before the war, Saul was a professor at the University of Krakow, but now he runs a pawn shop in Spanish Harlem. He has an apprentice, Jesus Ortiz, a Puerto Rican kid, about 20, who helps him take care of the store and runs errands for him. One evening, Jesus asks Saul, "How come you people come to business so naturally?"
How come you people come to business so naturally? You people. You want to learn the secret of our success? All right. I will tell you. I will teach you. First of all, start off with several thousand years during which you have nothing to sustain you but a great bearded legend. Nothing else. You have no land to call your own, to grow food on, to hunt on. Not enough time in one place to have a geography or an army or a land myth. All you have is a little brain and a great bearded legend to convince you, to teach you that you are special, even in poverty. But this little brain, that's the real key, you see. With this little brain, you go out and you buy yourself a piece of cloth. Wool, silk, cotton, does not matter. You take that cloth and you cut it in two, and you sell the two pieces for a penny or two more than you paid for the one. And then, with that money, you buy another larger piece of cloth, and you cut that piece of cloth into three pieces, and you sell those three pieces for 3 pennies profits. And during that time, you must never succumb to buying an extra piece of bread for the table or a toy for a child. No. You must immediately run out and get yourself a larger piece of cloth. And you repeat this process over and over and over until there is no longer any desire, any temptation to dig into the earth, to grow food. No longer any desire to gaze at limitless land and call it your own. No, you just go on repeating this process over and over through the centuries until suddenly, one day, you make a grand discovery. You are a merchant. You are a usurer, a man known to have secret resources. You are known as a witch, a pawnbroker, a sheenie, a maki, a heeb, a cake. No man, no madness, though their sad power may prevail, can possess, conquer my country's heart. They rise to fail. She is eternal, long before nations' lines were drawn, when no flag flew, when no army stood, my land was born. And you ask me why I love her, through wars, death, and despair. She is a constant. We who don't care. And you wonder, would I leave her? But how? I cross over borders, but I'm still there now. How could I leave her? Where would I start? Let men's petty nations tear themselves apart. My land's own
Well, if that didn't touch your heart is stone. How wonderful was that? Well, now I have something equally exhilarating for you, but in a much, I guess, lighter vein. We have the wonderful Amanda Yachechak. Now, I have worked with Amanda, directed her on numerous occasions. And let me tell you something, I am beginning to believe that that woman is capable of anything. One time I had a show and I found out I'm going to need a dancer on toe. I need a ballet dancer. I didn't know she did that, but she said, no problem. Studied ballet for years. Watch me. I did amazing. I had another show where I said, oh, I need an acrobat. She's got to pretend to be 11 years old and she's got to tumble like mad. No problem. Another show, the aforementioned Lady of the Castle, in which Amanda played the lady. Have to be a Jewish girl who's been locked up in the walls of a castle for years and didn't know that the war was over, and then comes out almost ghost-like. No problem. I can do that. I need an accent. I can do the accent. I need an Italian accent for another show. No problem. I'm telling you, the woman is so versatile, so marvelous, an extraordinary actress with a voice. Oh, wait till you hear her voice if you haven't already done so in one of my shows. If you were that unlucky, you're going to get lucky tonight with Amanda, in a manner of speaking, of course. The wonderful Amanda Yachechak.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Lissa. And hello, everyone. I will be starting off my set this evening with not a Christmas song, but still, I think, very much in the Christmas spirit. This is The Beauty Is from Light in the Piazza. He's a very popular in Italy. It's the land of naked marble boys. Something we don't see a lot in Winston-Salem. That's the land of corduroys. I'm just a someone in an old museum, far away from home as someone can go. And the beauty is I still meet people I know. Hello! This is wanting something. This is reaching for it. This is wishing that a moment would arrive. This is taking chances. This is almost touching what the beauty is. I don't understand a word they're saying. I'm as different here as different can be. But the beauty is I still meet people like me. Everyone's a mother here in Italy. Everyone's a father or a son. I think if I had a child, I would take such care of her. Then I wouldn't feel like one. I've hardly met a single soul, but I am not alone. I feel known. This is wanting something. This is praying for it. This is holding breath and keeping fingers crossed. This is asking questions. This is wondering when I'll see that boy again. I've got a feeling he's just a someone too. And the beauty is when you realize someone could be looking for a someone like you. And for my next piece, this really doesn't need any introduction because it is I Could Have Danced All Night from My Fair Lady. I couldn't go to bed. My head's too light. Who's right to set it down? Sleep. I couldn't sleep tonight. Not for all the dreamers in the crowd. I could have danced all night. I could have danced all night and still have begged for more. I could have spread my wings and done 1,000 things I've never done before. I'll never know what made it so exciting. Why all at once my heart took flight. I only know when he began to dance with me, I could have danced all night. I could have danced all night. I could have danced all night and still have begged for more. I could have spread my wings and done 1,000 things I've never done before. I'll never know what made it so exciting. Why all at once my heart took flight. I only know when he began to dance with me, I could have danced Thank you very much. And for my last piece, I promise this one is directly about Christmas. This is Gesù Bambino. When blossoms flowered mid the snows upon a winter's night, there came that child, a Christmas rose, the King of love and light. The angels sang, the shepherds sang, the great world rejoiced. And at his blessed birth the stars their exultation voiced. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Christ the Lord. Again the heart with rapture grows to greet the holy night that gave the world its Christmas rose, the King of love and light. Let every voice proclaim his name, the great my chorus swell. From paradise to Oh, come, let us adore him. Adore him, Christ the Lord. Oh, come, let us adore him. Let us adore him. Christ the Lord. Thank you so much, everyone, and happy holidays to you all.
Well, anything I could say after that would be completely inadequate. Thank you, Amanda. Glorious, absolutely glorious. Well, now for something completely different. I'm going to bring back Susan Mitchell, who I talked about her violin earlier. Now I'm going to talk about her as an actress. I met her decades ago. Again, we were both in that beat version of Antigone, and we hit it off immediately. We had simpatico, and I had the honor of acting with her and directing her on so many shows through the years, and each time she surprises because she never stops growing, and she never stops working, and she never stops reaching to find something new and something different, and to give of herself, to give every ounce of herself and beyond. And that makes the director's job an absolute joy, absolute heaven. And I love her as a friend as well, always will. And opposite her will be Peter Welch this evening. I met Peter in a different context. I was running a playwrights workshop, and I read 294 plays and chose 8. And one of them happened to belong to the marvelous Peter Welch. It was a wonderful play. And then I found out he was a world-class photographer. Who knew? And then I kept seeing him on stage in various things and realized he was a marvelous actor as well. Triple treat. So we're going to have Susan and Peter, and they are going to do excerpts from The Apartment. And this wonderful piece is sort of an homage to the poignancy and the loneliness of the holidays. And this year, more than ever, we can all appreciate that. But it also has a good deal of humor to speak for itself. It is The Apartment, screenplay by Billy Wilder and A.L. Diamond, originally directed by Billy Wilder. Time, 1960. Place, Manhattan. This dark comedy is the story of C.C. Bud Baxter, an employee at a large insurance firm. Unmarried and living alone in a small apartment, he has little, if any, social life. Baxter has been roped into letting his superiors, several married executives, use his apartment to carry on clandestine affairs with various women. Because Baxter has played ball with them, passing his apartment key from executive to executive, the executives play ball with Bud, recommending him to J.D. Sheldrake, the executive in charge of personnel, for an advance in the company. Baxter moves to a junior executive position, complete with private office, but finds that Sheldrake, married for 12 years, wants the key to his apartment. Sheldrake is having an affair with Fran Kubelik, who works as a white-gloved elevator operator in Baxter's office building. Fran is single. She and Bud speak one day. They make a date to meet one night at the theater, but Fran never shows up. She's with Sheldrake at Baxter's apartment. Fran is in love with Sheldrake and hopes that he will divorce his wife, but at the office Christmas party, Fran learns that she is only the latest of what has been a string of office affairs for Sheldrake. At Bud's apartment on Christmas Eve, Sheldrake tells Fran that he cannot stay with her and must leave to be with his family. He hands her a $100 bill and tells her to get herself something nice for Christmas. Insulted, Fran takes the money and begins to undress.
As long as it's paid for.
But Sheldrake is in a hurry and rushes off, leaving Fran alone. Fran attempts suicide in Bud's apartment. When Bud returns, he saves her life with the help of the doctor that lives next door. As she recovers, Fran and Bud exchange personal stories.
I think I'm gonna give it all up. Why do people love people anyway? I don't want it, don't want it, don't want it. Hey, what do you call it when somebody keeps getting smashed up in automobile accidents? Huh? A bad insurance risk? Well, that's me with men. I've been jinxed from the word go. First time I was ever kissed was in a cemetery. I was 15. Used to go there to smoke. His name was George. He threw me over for a drum majorette. I just have this talent, falling in love with the wrong guy in the wrong place, the wrong time. Oh, the last one? Oh, he was a manager of a finance company back home in Pittsburgh. They found a little shortage in his accounts, but he asked me to wait for him. He'll be out in 5 years. So I moved to New York, and I moved in with my sister and her husband. He drives a cab. And I went to secretarial school, and I applied for a job with Consolidated, but I flunked the typing test. I can type up a storm, but can't spell. So they gave me a pair of white gloves, stuck me up in an elevator, and that's how I met Jeff. Oh, God, I'm so fouled up now. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Hey, maybe he really does love me. He just doesn't have the nerve to tell his wife.
I know exactly how you feel, Mrs. Kubelik. You think it's the end of the world, but it's not, really. I did exactly the same thing myself. Well, maybe not exactly. I tried to do it with a gun. She was the wife of my best friend, and I was just mad for her. But I knew it was helpless, so I decided I'm going to end it all. I go to a pawn shop, I buy a .45 automatic, and I drive up to Eden Park. Do you know Cincinnati? Anyway, I park the car and I load the gun. But, well, you read in newspapers all the time about people shooting themselves. But believe me, it's not that easy. I mean, how do you do it? Here? Want to know where I finally did it? Right here. Yeah. While I was sitting there trying to make up my mind, this cop sticks his head in my car because I'm illegally parked. So I try to slide the gun under the seat and, to hide it, but it accidentally goes off. Pow! It was a whole year before I could bend this knee again. But it only took me 3 weeks to get over that girl. She still lives in Cincinnati, has 4 kids, gained 20 pounds. Every Christmas, she buys me a fruitcake. Here's the fruitcake. And hey, you want to see my knee?
Oh, I've always dreamt of seeing your knee. And I've always dreamt of the camera coming on when I push the little button. I love your knees, Peter, and I love your work. And I love your work, Susan. Thank you so much. And everybody, not to worry, by the end of the apartment, those two benighted souls do get together, Miss Kubelik and Bud, and they do find happiness and love. Anyway, now I'm going to do a poem for you. Now, this is a little bit of a departure for me, though many of you may have heard my poetry, seen me as an actor, writer, director, whatever, but and have heard my poetry. But this is a poem that I wrote when I was 10 and a half years old. So it's, as I say, it's a little bit of a different thing for me. But it was a moment in my life and the history of my neighborhood that really traumatized me, really moved me and traumatized me. It was the time of school busing. And my family were always on the way left side of the political spectrum. So of course they were all for it, but there were many people surrounding us that were quite vociferously opposed, and they were quite cruel, especially to my mother. And I had never really seen so-called grown-ups act in this way before. And it really touched me and upset me. So the only way I could do anything about it was to write about it. And I was writing back then too. So I wrote this poem, which I sent into the local newspaper, and they printed it, and my mother was very proud, but nonetheless, it was a painful time. And unfortunately, what moved me then is still horribly apropos now. It is just called a story poem. Now, it happened one day that a young mother and her child of 4 were standing in that dying breed of modern dinosaur known as the neighborhood store. At the register, she searched the depth of her voluminous bag and let go his hand. A minute, no more. He inspected the shelves of candy treats, but having been so many times, he began to bore. Then he was struck by an excited tingling. Outside, something was happening. From out the window came a roar. People lined the streets, and everyone was shouting. He went out to see what the commotion was for. Policemen and barricades. A parade, he thought, like on TV, marching bands, popcorn and gumdrops, traditional children's lore. But as he looked confusedly about, the voices were angry and mean, frightening, tinged with an eerie gore. The faces were light and dark, pitted against each other, and every eye intent upon the nearby schoolhouse door. He'd wandered among them, and now he couldn't make it back to the corner store. His mother called to him and searched in utter vain. Help in that one-track mob, impossible to secure. Then 30-odd youngsters emerged from a bus, straight and erect against the wind, going to school, impossible to ignore. The crowd could wait no longer. Forward, they surged, trampling barricades and everything that stood in the way of the door. In the ensuing stampede, the child was crushed and killed. At first, nobody even saw. Then someone felt the still warm thing underfoot. Then another, and around the body in revulsion, 2 groups separately began to withdraw. As the news passed through the gathering, finally ashamed and crying, they began to make for home, no longer poised for war. Then from the throng, from someone too far back to see, came the question, what color the babe whose red blood washed the pavement floor? His mother, who had finally found him at last, wrenched the answer from her lips. And then one group wept less copiously than before. Well, as you can see, this was a time in my life that was very painful. So I am going to change the subject. I'm going to really lighten things up. I'm going to do another poem that I wrote. It was to be turned into a song, which it subsequently was, a madrigal-like song by my wonderful partner in art, the composer, Mr. Richard West, for a musical of ours, Who Murdered Love, which is a sort of surrealist Dada noir murder mystery, which was scheduled to open at Theater for the New City not once, but twice. And of course, COVID intervened on art. So we're not quite sure when it's going to happen. A few of the people you saw here tonight will be in it if it ever happens. And of course it's going to happen. But anyway, it is sort of an homage to absinthe. Now, absinthe is a wonderful, wonderful thing. It was the favorite drink of the artists starting from the Belle Epoque in France all the way through the 1920s. And at that time, it not only got you very high, but it also had an hallucinogenic aspect to it. So it took you on a trip. And the nickname for absinthe was and is Green Fairy. Green Fairy. Green Fairy, Green Fairy, Fairy of Green, take me to places that I've never been. Green Fairy, Green Fairy, Fairy of Green, I thought I had eyes, but I've never seen. Sweet exultation, I'm stripped of despair. You build me castles where once there was air. Green Fairy, Fairy of Green, whispers her secrets, but what do they mean? Green Fairy, Fairy of Green, be you the devil or angel pristine, I care not your answer, here is my soul. Make me your plaything or swallow me whole. Sister of Circe, oh, siren of myth, please don't desert me, oh, be my Lilith. Green Fairy, Fairy of Green, Oracle of Delphi, oh, what have you seen? Green Fairy, Fairy of Green, share all your secrets, my sweet Fairy Queen. Eyes carved from emeralds, lips of red flame. Now that I've tasted, I'll ne'er be the same. Green Fairy, Fairy of Green, the places you've been, the things that you've seen, lend me your wings for an unending dream. May you all get a bottle of absinthe for Christmas. I hope that raised your spirits. All right, next up, we have Susan Mitchell yet again, and she had played for you as part of the wonderful group Melange, but she's an amazing solo violinist as well. And I sort of begged her, asked her to play at least part of the magical, moving, opening cadenza from Fiddler on the Roof. And she was kind enough to do that and followed it up by her version of some fantastic Hanukkah music. Ms. Susan Mitchell.
Happy Hanukkah.
Yes, happy Hanukkah. Light that first light tonight. And if your heart wasn't lit by Susan Mitchell, well, something's wrong with you. She's wonderful and I love her. I love her, love her, love her. Anyway, now to close out our evening, and I'm so sad to say close out our evening because when you have so many extraordinary people in your life, you don't ever want to close out the evening. But comes a time, and to close out the evening will be the glorious, stunning, beautiful Louisa Bradshaw, who I met one Christmas. It was about Christmas. I know it was Christmas time. I and Richard and Louisa were all coming out of the same movie, out of the Directors Guild. And Richard, who has a tremendous eye for beauty, what he's doing with me, I have no idea. But anyway, he made a beeline for Louisa. He started to talk to her, dragged me over, said, "You've got to meet this woman." We're talking, and we all walked over to see the beautiful Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center. And we're chatting and we're chatting. And of course, I find out she's a wonderful singer. She's an actress. And from then on, she started appearing in numerous of my and Richard's and our shows, and in many other shows that we were not associated with. But she is wonderful. I directed her in a show where she played Marilyn Monroe. Of course, she played Marilyn Monroe. She's gorgeous and gorgeous. Anyway, she's going to sing a song tonight that was from Meet Me in St. Louis, originally written for that, but it reached out to the men and boys and family of the men and boys who were away, families of the men and boys who were away at war, World War II at that time. And since we are in another kind of war right now, this awful pandemic, I think it's the perfect close. And she'll tell you all about it, and she'll sing you all about it. The magnificent Louisa Bradshaw.
Cute. Well, thank you for that lovely introduction, Lissa. You beautiful woman. What are you talking about? Richie has great taste. You're my favorite couple. Thank you for all of the beautiful performances I got to see. Since it's the great thing about being last, you get to see everything. And I wish you all a very wonderful and a very safe holiday season. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Keep the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be far away. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Here we are as in olden days, all those golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us will be near to us once more. Through the years, we all will be together if the fates allow. Hang a shining star upon the highest bough and have yourself a merry little Christmas now. I love you all.
Well, it's been an inspirational evening, Louisa. That was the cherry on top of the cake. Beautiful, touching, poignant, moving, all those good things. Everyone, I'm so inspired by you all. You're all so wonderful. I can never thank you enough for joining me this evening. What a beautiful night. I'm verklempt. Thank you all. Now we're going to all say goodnight. We're going to put up those fabulous Zoom arrays that they always do. I don't know. I'm going to start calling out names. Please wave and say bye-bye and say Merry Christmas. Everybody mask up, stay well, stay happy. We have got Louisa kissing us goodbye, and Jonathan Fox Powers and Paige Cutrona. I hope they've stuck around to say goodnight. And William,
everybody.
Good night, darlings. And William Broderick, who I adore and I've worked with numerous times. And besides what you heard tonight, he's got a voice that's unbelievable. You'll hear it in Who Murdered Love someday. Inma Heredia, I love her, and I've known her years now, and she's joie, she's joy, she's love, she's a glorious human. And of course, the people from Melange, my darling Richard West, who was on video along with Jiggers Turner. And then there is Bennett Pologe, Pologe. All these years I know him and I still have trouble pronouncing his beautiful name, but you saw what he can do, and he can do it all. He's amazing. Amanda Yachechak, as I mentioned, she can't, you know, she's so versatile. She can do it all. I love her. I love her. Susan Mitchell, my friend for decades and decades. I adore her. Peter Welch, the first time I've ever sort of semi-directed him, and it was a blast. And there we end with Louisa Bradshaw again, and myself. I'm Lissa Moira. I have been so honored, so happy. And I wish you the happiest of Hanukkahs, the merriest of Christmases, the craziest of Kwanzas. Celebrate, but be careful, be safe, and mwah, love to you all. I must also thank, first of all, J. Allen Hanna. Now, he is the glue that holds us all together. The beautiful video that you saw at the opening, that was all Alan. He's amazing. He's a great technician, but he's also a wonderful actor and an incredible choreographer. He has choreographed many of my shows. I am, you know, yeah, if it wasn't for his husband, Carlos, you know, I'd be deeply in love with the man. But of course I have my Richard, so it's okay. And then there is David West, who hosts and runs and curates all of these wonderful on-air performances. There is Brian Parks, who you know, he kind of stays out of the spotlight, but he's pushing those buttons and making it all happen, and we love him. And of course, I would be remiss if I don't mention Crystal Field, the grande dame of Theater for the New City, the artistic director, the executive director. She is the chatelaine of our home. She gave us the space, and she always just lets us go. She says, here, do your own thing, go for it. And she's hands off in that way. Hearts on and hands off. So we love her, Crystal Field. Thank you, one and all. Have a glorious night and a glorious holiday season. Mwah! Bye-bye.
Thank you, Lissa. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Let me just pop in really quick. And I want to wish Crystal a very happy birthday. Her birthday's
Oh,
today.
yes, I forgot. It's a
Oh, happy
birthday,
birthday.
Oh, we should all
Birthday.
sing happy birthday to Crystal. That would be, wouldn't that be nice?
Awesome.
A little hard to do.
Oh, but the Zoom won't let us. It's got to be one person. The Zoom
So
won't allow.
everybody, thank you for being here. And again, join us next Thursday for The Dying Room by John Wesley Braswell. And that's that Thursday at 7, our regular time. And then join us this weekend for Open Those Shut. And that's at Theater for the New City on 10th Street. It's crazy. It's really fun. It's really short. It's like an hour long. And then again, donate to your small theaters. Donate to Theater for the New City at theaterforthenewcity.net. And thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye-bye. You guys are so
Bye-bye.
talented. Amazing. Your work was amazing. Incredible. I mean,
So